In this episode of Brainpower, we are using data in ChatGPT. Hello, friends. It's Josh. How you doing? Well, time to explore some data in ChatGPT. And one of the interesting things about using ChatGPT is that for the most part, we'll go in there and prompt and try to get some text back. If we're doing content creation, but it does so much more. And in this episode, I want to just take just a cursory look at what's possible with data. So it's not going to be anything too complex because I really just want to introduce you to the concept and get you, acclimated to thinking differently about working with ChatGPT and large language models. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Now, keep in mind that if you want to grab the files that are going to be used, or the data sets are going to be used for this episode, then you will want to go down to, or go to this web address here, my website /Brainpower. Just go ahead and scroll down to episode 16. There is a download file that looks a little something like this. There it is. So now this document, just to give you some context, it has the data that we're going to be working with here. And so in some instances, you're just going to go ahead and copy and paste and use the data. Now, for the standard operating procedure, that's actually going to be in a Word document. Okay. Now, you could use the PDF if you want and upload the PDF. And the comma delimited list of data here is going to be just in a text file. At least that's the way I'm going to use it. Okay. So as you're watching this, if you want to, take the data that's in here and put it in a Word document or transform it and then upload it, that's fine. Now, in regards to the capability of uploading the data, I want you to keep in mind that if you have the ChatGPT Plus account, you are able to attach a Word file or a text file. If you have 3.5, you'll need to take the data set and put it in the prompt. And I'll explain the differences there. So, all right, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about using data in ChatGPT. First, let's talk about the strategies on this topic. And so in regards to like applications for learning and development, one way that you can use data is personalized learning paths. And I'm beginning to see that type of activity in LMS, LXP environments. I mean, some of it already exists, but in regards to AI, specifically generative AI, going in and automating this process, we're seeing, more of that type of activity. Skill gap analysis. Okay, so going in and leveraging data analytic capabilities within ChatGPT to maybe even from the model suggest what would be used for upskilling. Learner engagement and retention analytics. So if you have some type of report, maybe an XAPI report or statements that will then generate this type of data, you can then analyze that data. Return of investment on training programs. So if we want to go in and get KPIs and verify what type of performance is happening out in the field. Maybe take those two data sets and use them to talk to ChatGPT. What do you think about what's happening here? Automated reporting and feedback loops. So we can upload reports and get, again, analysis or sentiment statements from those reports and enhance compliance training. So, if you have very specific rules or data around compliance, how we can take that data and then use ChatGPT as a thought partner and possibly coming up with different learning solutions. So there's so many different things that we can use data and the analytic part of ChatGPT for. Now, some more of the tactics and the capabilities around this include text analysis and classification. So if you have a large body of text, you can go in and separate out parts of that based upon any type of organizational taxonomy that you have to, again, put those into compartments. Data extraction and processing. If you have a large amount of data, you can go in and get specific parts of that data set and then do something with it. Predictive analytics, a little bit more advanced, but again, it's possible to go in and upload a whole, trove of documents that are within like a PDF and ask it questions, and it'll give you some ideas as far as what it thinks potentially could happen in a scenario or situation. Semantic search, so being able to go ahead and have it search through a large amount of data. I think one fascinating aspect of this is around the token window, or how many tokens are allowed within one context window in ChatGPT and other large language models. And these windows are becoming huge, like, up to 1 million tokens in some instances, depending upon the model. And so what that gives you is the ability to take a large amount of text and put it in the model. One of the issues that occurred with this type of searching is that, being able to go in and find information at the beginning or the end of the text that you input was decent, but things kind of got a little weird in the middle. Engineering issue. Those things are typically getting resolved. It's actually quite fascinating to see how you can upload an entire book and then ask very specific things about that book, down to a word or a phrase, right? So again, being able to go in and search with a large amount of documents. Content summarization, could be a meeting transcript. And finally, chatbots and virtual assistants. Again, leveraging your own internal data, being able to upload a document that will then focus the chatbot in on that topic. Call that RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. And, with chatbots, we definitely don't want them to go, off the rails. So anything that we can do in regards to keeping them focused with uploaded data, that's a good thing. All right. So with that, let's go in and take a look at our first example. So I'm just going to take this full screen here, and let's go ahead and go over to our document. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is upload this standard operating procedure. Now, for many of you, standard operating procedures is just especially when it's something that's being newly implemented, an opportunity to go ahead and support that either through performance support, all kinds of different notifications out to the field that, hey, we got a change coming. We can have coaching going on with the standard operating procedure. You get the idea. All right, so let's go ahead and let's flip the script on this. Let's say you have an SOP, but I need to go ahead and kind of talk with ChatGPT about, from a learning standpoint, what's possible? What is possible? All right. Okay. So with that, let's go over to ChatGPT, and I am going to open up ChatGPT. Let's get a window over here. Perfect. And talk about uploading the document. All right. So I need to first go and verify that I am working with the 4 model. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and switch and get over to the 4 model here. And then I want to upload my data. Now I have a Word document with the standard operating procedure. So you'll notice that in GPT-4, there is a paperclip right here. And this allows me to upload all kinds of various document types. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Word document. It could be a text file, Excel, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to upload this. And let's go to this document's at. There we go. There's my SOP. Let me go ahead and open it. It's in use, no problem. Let me go ahead and get out of that. So what's happening is this was open in Word in the background, so can't attach it. So let me close out of that. All right, take 2. All right, so we go ahead and select the document, hit open, and it is attached. All right, so that document is going to be referenced by ChatGPT when I prompt. So I think what I want to do is just do something very simple here. Act like an instructional designer. And we're going to give it a task. So I need well-formed learning objectives from this SOP. All right, so again, we're going to keep it pretty simple here. Now, I could go in and expand the prompt and get into the specifics of the learning objectives. So if you want to use a SMART format, whatever you want to form the learning objectives, it's up to you. Again, I'm just going to say well formed. So that's a little, open to interpretation from ChatGPT. But again, keeping it simple, I have my SOP, and let's go ahead and run this. All right. So now while it's working here, I'm just going to go ahead and check out what it's given me, making sure it's workable. So we have, again, explain the objective of the SOP, emphasizing the promotion of fairness and consistency in the hiring process, recognize the roles and responsibility of department heads. This is for an online assessment, by the way. So if we go ahead and we take a look at that SOP, I got so excited about uploading it. It didn't even give you a look at the document. So if we look at the SOP, the SOP is designed to standardize the evaluation of candidate qualifications across our organization, promoting fairness and consistency in hiring. So we got the scope, we got the steps, we have potential resources. Fairly easy. So that's now in there. But once we go in and we're like, okay, these look okay. I mean, I could continue to massage these and make these learning objectives a little bit tighter, time constraints, measurement, that kind of thing. But I'm going to go ahead and go with it as is. But now I can go in and say, all right, well, now I need a detailed training plan to support this effort, or SOP. Words matter. So I'm going to go with what I said, effort, instead of SOP. Now, what I expect here is for it to have communication. We want to go ahead and have performance support. We want to go ahead and have coaching. So let's see what ChatGPT can do. So here's a training plan. So we have some training here. Part 1, the purpose. Hour might be a little bit too long to go over the purpose. Can knock that out pretty quick. Walkthrough, 2 hours, step by step. Hands-on, group discussion, role play, mock sessions, email communication, role scripts. Got evaluation part, post-training evaluation, practical test. Probably would want some, for the evaluation, probably would definitely want some 360 coaching going on here. But you get the idea, right? So now we're off and running. And this is all just from the document. Now, if I really wanted to keep rolling here, this is where, if you have, again, solid training plan, to go ahead and expand a section. So that we call this prompt chaining. So now I want to go ahead and continue through this. And let's say, and you don't have to get too detailed with this, right? It's a conversation. Like, go ahead and give me a detailed plan for part 1. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. So what I expect here is for this 1 hour to be broken down. And I could ask for that, right? So I could say, please break down minute by minute what's going to happen in the first hour of part 1, introduction, SOP overview. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to expect that it will break it down for me here. Let's see. So we got an agenda. Good. There we go. 10 minutes on this, 20 minutes. Perfect. That's what I was expecting. So it's interesting how we can start with a standard operating procedure, upload it into ChatGPT as a form of data, and then get learning objectives, get a training plan, and then now we have the details around that first hour of training around that SOP, right? Again, you're using this as a thought partner. I wouldn't think of this as going in like doing finalized work with each of these. You notice I talked about like massaging the learning objectives and then some other work around the training plan and so on, right? But it gets you further along and you can use it as a thought partner for this particular workflow. Okay, let's go ahead and let's try the next one. So if we go over to the download, the handout for this episode, a comma delimited list. All right, so here we have information about our instructors. We have the city that the class was in. We have the class itself, which is like team management, data analysis, leadership, and so on, and the respective score on a scale of 5. How did they do? Now, if you're working in GPT 3.5, you can take this data set and copy it and put it in your prompt and say something to the effect of, act as an instructional designer. I need to go ahead and find out who the top instructor was. Please use the following data set. And typically when you reference a data set in ChatGPT, you surround it with triple quotes. And that's even in OpenAI's documentation. So, I think that's just a delimiter that they're using, or that's common in there. You could use other delimiters if you want to identify the data set, but in their documentation, use triple quotes. So that's what I use. So let me go ahead and show you that. And then we'll also go in and take this data and upload it as a text file. So it's just this data set inside of a TXT or text file, and you can upload it. All right, so with that, let me just go ahead and get this in the clipboard. And so this is for my 3.5 folks out there, or if you are using a model that you're not allowed to upload documents, right? So over here, let's go to 3.5 and act as an instructional designer. There we go. Uh, Examine the following data. And the reason why I said instructional designer is that there may be things I want to do that an instructional designer would do with the data itself. So again, what I'll do is just go ahead and triple quote this, go down to the next line, paste this in here, triple quote. Those are my delimiters to segment the data, and then just run it. And it's going to say, hey, I read the data. What do you want me to do with it? To analyze the data provided, let's break it down. Instructor, topic, location, rating. Now let's draw some insights from the data. And it's actually giving me some ideas as far as what it can do. Instructor performance, topic popularity, overall course quality. Perfect. Let's go ahead and give me a detailed report on topic popularity. Okay. So there's that. And it's giving me information about which instructor, taught the course and that kind of thing. And the average at the end, again, check your math. It's a large language model. It's not good at math. So got to verify that. But you get the idea. Now, this was with the data directly into the prompt. Let's go over to 4. And actually, I'm going to borrow this little prompt right here. I'll switch over to the 4 model. Pretty much the same technique, but this time I'm going to go ahead and click on the paperclip. I'll grab that same data set as a text file, put my little prompt in there. Ooh, that's funny. Unable to extract text from this text file. Well, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens here. So now it's reading the document. It's interesting that it balked at this particular comma delimited list. So we'll see what happens once it goes in and completes reading the document. Hopefully it gives me similar types of results from 3.5 or that we saw with the data directly in the prompt. It's taking its good old sweet time. It's not that big of a file, so I wonder why it's taking so long. There we go. All right, well, I'm going to pause this here because I don't know why it balked at this. So let me go ahead and pause. I'm going to refresh. And let's try it. Let's try it one more time. I don't think the file is open. Oh, that could be it. Yep. See, that's what we call a happy accident. I bet because that file was open in the background, it couldn't read it. So that's good to know, right? So if you get that same error message, well, let's close this out. Take 2. Oh, it's something else. All right. That's very interesting. Well, I'm not going to just let it spin here and try to do its work. I think you get the idea of, what we saw over here with this particular outcome. The same thing should happen with the text file being read into ChatGPT. Why is it bulking at the file? Good question. So I'll have to resolve that at some point and figure out exactly why a simple comma delimited list that's inside of a text file is not being able to be read. Okay. All right. Well, I got one more here for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at this XAPI data prompt. Now, this one is extremely interesting. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually create data. We're going to go ahead and create a sample data set. And so, sometimes when you're working with XAPI, maybe you need just some sample data, like your app isn't hooked up yet, it's not returning statements, or you just don't have individuals that are, uh, testing the app. You don't have enough people to actually return the data back if you're building a dashboard or anything like that. So why not get a sample data set? So in this particular prompt, what we're going to do is create XAPI data, and with the following: act as an instructional designer and an expert in XAPI. Very important that those words are in there, because again, we assume that the model understands the experience API and everything about it in regards to the JSON structure and all of that. Create a sample data set in XAPI with 50 different learners watching a single video. Purpose: this data set is designed to log detailed learner interactions with a specific educational video using XAPI. Statements: again, words are important. Explaining it to the model. So just by doing that, we have a high probability of it knowing or trained on the format and structure of XAPI. Video content: this data set will track interactions with a 5-minute educational video titled How to Avoid Slips and Spills in a Warehouse. Learner interactions to be tracked: pausing the video, stopping, skipping, resuming. Each interaction will be logged as an XAPI statement, structured to include the type of interaction, the exact time code. I think I'm going to tweak that to say exact time code of the video, and learner's ID. It's just going to make it up. So this is kind of fascinating, right? As opposed to uploading our own data, we are going in and asking ChatGPT to create data for us. All right, well, let's give it a go. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that prompt. If I can copy it. Kind of wiggy here. Let's see. Well, maybe I'll get it in the clipboard. Let's see here. Copy. Just kind of like a redraw issue. All right, back over to ChatGPT. I'm going to make a brand new chat in GPT-4. Let me paste the prompt in there. Let me just verify, make sure it's all in there. It looks like there's two. Oh, it's doing something really weird. Oh, it's like duping out all of the words. Nothing's ever easy. It's really wild how it did that. Okay, well, for some reason, I can't just go in and copy this thing. Not a problem. Where there's a will, there's a way. So this is going to be kind of a weird way of doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and print screen. I'm just going to grab the prompt like this, do a screen capture of it, copy it. Yeah, don't try this at home, kids. And paste it into ChatGPT and say, please read this. So essentially what I'm doing is using the OCR capabilities to extract out the prompt. Oh, how I love doing lives. Well, let me pause. It can use the OCR to grab it. I do want the prompt though. So let me just give me the text. Nothing else. And hopefully it just gives me the prompt. Wow. No, hold on. Let's grab it one more time. Just give me the text. Don't run anything. It's trying to run actually trying to perform the text that's in the image, believe it or not, which is really crazy. Don't do anything. Don't run the prompt. That's what I'm saying. All right, so let's go ahead and run that. Again, I'm just trying to extract that text there. It's probably very easy for you to copy and paste. There it is. That's kind of neat, so it's using the OCR capability to actually go ahead and take that image and extract the text out. Perfect. Okay, so there's my statement. I can finally copy that. Make a new prompt, right? Or a new window. Add your new prompt in there, and then run that. So it should actually open up a code window here after it gets done with this basic structure, which is good. It's kind of validating what's in it. And here we go. So now it's going in and it's creating this sample data set, showing me what each of these look like. Again, with a little massaging, I can go in and randomize this, extend it all the way out to 50 different learners. And you can see here, it's even adding in the time code as far as when the video was stopped, all random data. But again, if you're building some type of dashboard, having just this data set before you actually build the application could, be beneficial depending upon your workflows. And it's always good to know that ChatGPT understands the X API data set. Okay. All right. Well, that was exciting. And if you stuck with me throughout this whole thing, thank you so much. Sometimes we do this without a net, and it's always interesting. But hopefully today you got a chance to try and explore and at least begin thinking about going beyond text and images in ChatGPT and leveraging some data. And with that, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully, I will see you in the next episode. Take care.